Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching my video on preparing for the English test, how to write an essay. My name's Shelley and I'm an English tutor specialising in English exam preparation with the Down Under Centre. I provide private tuition to people who need to take an English test, whether it be IELTS or PTE Academic, and regardless of why they need to take the test, whether it be for a visa to my homeland Australia, or for migration to another English-speaking country like Canada or the UK, or academic purposes. I can help anyone needing to achieve a particular score in their English exam. I work with my students one-on-one to find the best and simplest ways to get them the highest score they can. And like this video, lessons are held entirely online. Today's video on preparing for the English test is looking at how to write an essay. We'll be looking at the three main stages to essay writing for the English test. Now, it does not matter if you are sitting IELTS or PTE. I've kept my advice suitable for either testing system. Writing a good essay and getting a high score in the English test are not always the same thing. What is a good essay may not meet the strict marking criteria set for attaining a high score in IELTS or PTE, because they want you to write in a specific way and answer in a particular way. So if you don't already know what they want or how to do that, it can be very easy to score lower than you expected. But once you know specifically what they are asking for to get to a certain score, and once you find a step-by-step approach to your writing tasks, then you are much more likely to get a higher score. And this can be a time-consuming process, especially when you get to the stage where you're actually practicing and writing multiple essays every day, week, or month, depending on your preparation schedule, which is just one of the reasons why private tuition is so beneficial. Knowing where you're going right and wrong in your essays is extremely difficult to judge yourself. With an English tutor, you'll know exactly what you need to change and how to do it. It can save a lot of time trying to narrow it down on your own, and can save time and money on practice tests trying to establish your current score. Although knowing what score you got is not quite as useful as knowing why you got that score and how to improve. My videos are for everyone and anyone, so if you are doing it on your own, I hope you find this video useful. And if you are one of my students, I expect to see an essay in my inbox by the end of the week. Just kidding. The three stages to writing an essay in the English test. Step 1, understand the question. This is the most important step, because if you do this step wrong, the next two steps will also be wrong. You can be an excellent writer, but if you don't understand the question exactly and you end up writing something slightly off topic, you are not going to score very well. Stage 2, being able to select the right method to present a position in a suitable way requires organizing your ideas and language, or in other words, planning. Don't just read the question and then start writing. Please read the question, understand the question, and then start to brainstorm ideas for your arguments. You need two strong arguments to support your position. But you'll know your position options by now because you understood the question in the last stage. And then you must plan. Do it for all your teachers in school. Mrs. Cottam, my grade 2 teacher, if you're out there, we're doing this for you. Planning is just so important if you want to get a high score. And then the third stage, of course, is writing. Now, if you did stages 1 and 2 thoroughly and well, writing is actually a fast and easy process. You know exactly what you need to write about because it says so in your plan. So you can simply put the pieces of the puzzle together in formal academic wording, and you've got yourself an essay. Today, we're going to look at step 1, understand the question. The first step in essay writing is to analyze the essay question, which tells you what the topic is and also gives you an indication of what kind of things you are expected to say about the topic. Essay questions have 2 components. Well, there are often more than that. There's often instruction words at the very top telling you things like the word count and the basic requirements. But if you've prepared for the test, you'll you'll already know all of this because that information doesn't change test to test. So the first component to an essay question, this is the first sentence indicating the topic. It will usually be about a social issue of some kind, like this one. More often than not, it will have an issue which there are positions on either side. Like this, for example, all necessary medical care should be free. So this is just a statement, but it still has 2 sides. Agree or disagree, or show the positives or negatives. But we don't know what we need to do for that part yet because we haven't got to that part of the question yet. But we do know that from this issue, there are 2 optional positions. So now we want to know if we should be arguing in favour, against, or a bit of both in this essay. So that's where we read the second part of the question. So the first component to an essay question gives you the information about what positions you will or can argue or discuss. And the second component to an essay is the instruction words telling you what to do. There are clues within every task indicating exactly what you should write about. Understanding all of these clues is part of the task. What are the advantages and disadvantages of this? We wanted to know which position we'd have to take, and now the instructions have told us both advantages and disadvantages. So this one's very simple. Now, it's also really important that you always check if the question's asking for your opinion or not. So does this question ask for my opinion? What are the advantages and disadvantages of this? No, it doesn't ask for my opinion. It's asking for facts. But what if the instructions were slightly different? So what if they said, do you agree or disagree with this statement? Is this asking for your opinion? Well, yes, it's asking if you agree or if you disagree. These are based on your opinion. And do I have to argue in favour, against, or both? Well, it doesn't specify. So you could partly agree or mostly agree, but you'd need to make this very clear throughout. Now, remember the question because it's about to be reworded, and therefore you would need to create a different answer. So at the moment, the question is all necessary medical care should be free. Now it says some people believe that all necessary medical care should be free. Others think that healthcare should not be provided by taxpayers' money. So you can see that it's kind of the same, but now it has an additional element to the opposing side, which is the reason you'd have to argue why healthcare should not be free if that is the position that you chose to argue. So what are the instruction words here? So the first one, A, says describe the role of the internet in modern society. So the instruction word is describe. And in B, it says the environment is the most important issue in the world today. So in B, the instruction word is discuss. These words give you information about how you should write your essay. So if you are asked to describe something, then your essay will mostly present facts and not opinions, unless there's another part of the question indicating that your opinion is required. Whereas discuss question words typically refer to an in-depth answer that takes into account all aspects of the debate concerning a research topic or argument. You must demonstrate reasoning skills with this type of question by using evidence to make a case for or against a topic or argument. But again, being very careful with all of the other wording, all the other question words, to make sure that it's maybe not asking for your opinion, or maybe it is strongly asking for your opinion. So you'll always want to make sure that you understand the whole sentence, and that each of these clues just add up to give you an overall picture of what you need to write about. Depending on which test you take, IELTS or PTE, there can be small differences in the wording of the questions, but generally they'll fit into these categories. So you may be asked to respond to a question. It's quite simple, or sometimes it can be two questions. Agree or disagree with a particular point of view, which can be worded in many different ways, and it can ask you if you agree or disagree, or it can ask you to agree or disagree. So it can ask you to completely agree or completely disagree. And it can also be anywhere in between. So it can ask you to do 50-50 or more of one than the other. So be aware of the different versions of each of these questions that you can come across. Write about the advantages and disadvantages of a particular opinion. Take one of two sides in an argument. Now, this one can be more common than people realize, but it's not always very clear when it's in a question that it wants you to choose a side or to choose just one position. Sometimes it can be clear, sometimes it will say choose a position and discuss why you chose that position, but not always. So, always checking for all of the key words that give you clues as to which of these you would be arguing. Both sides, one side, is your opinion included or not? So let's look at an example question. This is an IELTS Academic writing task 2. We live in a technological age. However, technology cannot solve all the world's problems. Therefore, some people argue that we need to place less emphasis on technological solutions and more on other issues. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this opinion? You should use your own ideas, knowledge, and experience to support your arguments with examples and relevant evidence. We can see that the question has the two components that I mentioned earlier: the description of the issue, which is usually expressed as a point of view or opposing views on a current issue, and a question for you, the writer. Now, this question doesn't use the words describe or discuss. It is asking for fact-based evidence to support your position, or opinion-based evidence. So which of those is it asking? Well, it says, to what extent do you agree or disagree with this opinion? So it must be your opinion which agrees or disagrees, right? It's not asking for the advantages and disadvantages or the pros and the cons, which would be factual. It's asking if you personally agree or disagree. In other words, your opinion. The first section, the description of the issue or the topic, is generally expressed in 1 to 3 sentences. 1 or 2 of the sentences may present a statement or a question about a situation. So in this example, it has, we live in a technological age, but technology cannot solve all our problems. The second part presents a conclusion that some people draw from this situation. Therefore, we should place less emphasis on technology and more on other values. This is designed to help you think about both sides of the issue. You do not need to focus on the fact that some people think. These words are just to show that it is a debatable topic, and it's not the focus of the question. Then we have the actual question. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this opinion? This may be phrased as, do you agree, or what is your opinion, or do you agree or disagree, or any words to that effect. So what is the question asking us to do? Does it want us to present both sides of the argument? Or does it want us to maybe strongly support or strongly oppose the argument based on our opinion? Or maybe partly support or partly oppose the argument based on our opinion? So it really depends on the wording of the question to answer this. So what did the question say? It said, to what extent do you agree or disagree? The words to what extent mean the same as how much. So that is, your answer will express either I completely agree, I completely disagree, or I partly agree and partly disagree. There is another point to remember here. Although it is usually easier to write what you actually believe, it's not necessary. If you do not have enough ideas or examples to support the side of an argument that you want to support, no problem. You just always choose the position which you can think of the most arguments to support it. Or maybe rather than the most, the best arguments. Remember, you are not being examined on your opinions, but only on how well you can express and support some ideas, whether they are your own or not. Now that we know what the question is asking us to do, let's go back to the description of the topic and pick out our keywords that tell us what the topic is. Normally, the keywords deal with a familiar topic, such as the internet or television. This is because the examiners want you, the test taker, to have some knowledge of the topic in order to express a variety of ideas. They are not testing you for your knowledge, but rather for your ability to write well. Therefore, the topics chosen will be about concepts and issues that they expect most people to know something about. So common topics can include education, the environment, the media, social problems are extremely common, health, lifestyle, scientific research, usually in terms of up-to-date current issues. In order to be prepared with ideas on such current issues, it's a good idea to just keep up to date with the major issues being discussed in the world. So reading or watching global news or listening to international news radio can be extremely helpful to familiarize yourself with such topics leading up to a test. But on the other hand, if you just sort of watch local news about a butcher shop down the road that closed down because the whole world's going vegetarian, well, this type of news isn't really going to be the sort of thing that you'll see in the essay topics, or even throughout the rest of the test as well. Dealing with social issues is very common. So even just switching on the news or the radio can really help. Now, understanding the question means more than understanding the instructions or the general topic. It means recognizing the focus of the topic and knowing what approach you should take to the topic. This is in some ways one of the most important aspects of writing the essay, and it does require the most thought. So let's look at 3 examples. So A, we've got, many people believe that the internet is the most revolutionary new invention of the last century. Do you agree? B, the internet has revolutionized the modern world, but many people argue that it has also created new problems and inequalities. What is your opinion? Or C, The internet could revolutionize the world in the future if everyone could have easy access to all the information that is available on the World Wide Web. Do you agree or disagree with this statement? So in each of those questions, the topic is the internet and its revolutionary role in the world. So you must have a basic idea about what the internet involves and think about what revolutionize means. So to make fundamental changes. However, each one also raises a different question and must be answered differently too. So if you just take these two keywords and write an essay on how, I don't know, your wife uses the internet for online shopping, and that's really changed your home. So this is taking the keywords but not answering what the question's asking. So unfortunately, it wouldn't score well, even if you did a really great job of writing that. So it's necessary to look at all of the remaining words in the question carefully to see what's required beyond the topic. So in A, it says, is the most revolutionary new invention of the last century. So A involves comparing the internet with other inventions because it says it's the most revolutionary new invention and arguing that it is or is not the most revolutionary. B has revolutionized the modern world, but it has also created new problems and inequalities. So B, on the other hand, expects you to accept that it is revolutionary, so that part's not in question, but to consider both the problems and inequalities it has created. And then C could revolutionize the world in future if everyone could have easy access to all the information that is available on the World Wide Web. So C wants you to speculate about the future and to consider how much you believe the future benefits will change the world. So you can see that the wording of the question is extremely important to determine how you will answer. One misunderstanding if you read the question too quickly or let nerves take over and settle for some element of the question that makes sense to you, and you might have lost your chance at a high score in writing because you haven't answered the question. And let's also not forget about this last part of the question. It is worded differently depending on which test you're taking, but it's always essentially asking you to draw on your own knowledge from either experience or things you've read, heard, or watched. And again, this is why getting into the news or world events can really benefit you for this task, to help give you ideas so that brainstorming arguments for your essay is an easier and faster process. This information is added to support your argument. Examples should only be used after you've made an argument in order to support your argument. So don't start an argument with an example. Some people worry that they might not have any personal experiences to use as examples, but for starters, the question often suggests personal experience examples as an option, not a necessity. And even if it is worded as a requirement, you do not have to tell the truth. You can make up your personal experiences and no one will ever know. So that is the whole process for stage 1, understanding the question. Look for the clues. Divide the question into its two parts, the issue, usually with an opposing position on both sides, and the question. What are the key words in the question which give you hints about how and what you should write? Does it use the word discuss or describe? Is your opinion asked, or does it just want facts? Can you choose which position you argue in the essay, or does it tell you which position or positions you must take? Should you include personal examples or keep the whole essay in third person as if narrated? All these answers and more are within those couple of sentences of the question. So don't breeze past it. Read it, understand it, and then you're ready to move on to the next stage, which is to plan, and then eventually to write. If you'd like some help and guidance through the English test process, I'd be happy to help you out with some private tuition. Lessons are held entirely online, so while I'm based in sunny London, my students come from all over the globe. Tuition is priced at £50 plus tax for a single 1-hour lesson. If you know that you'll need a few lessons to get you to where you need to be, we also offer bundle deals of 3 1-hour lessons for £135 plus VAT. There are discounts available to Down Under Centre clients, so if you are a member, please get in touch with me for the discount codes. You can book via the link in the video description. It is really easy. Or otherwise, you can watch my video on how to book English tuition with me. Today's video is brought to you by the Down Under Centre, bringing dreams of moving to Australia to reality for many people. If you have the same dream, the Down Under Centre don't charge for an initial consultation to find out if you're eligible for a visa to Australia. So why not contact the office for your free consultation by sending your CV to info@downundercentre.com, or you can use the free visa points calculator on the Down Under Centre's website to see if you are eligible. Otherwise, for those of you already sorted with a migration agent, or for those of you hitting up Canada, New Zealand, or anywhere else in the world, I hope you get a chance to practice what we went through today, find some example questions, and try to understand each of the clues in the 2 parts of the question. Step by step, how many clues can you extract from each question? Please join me next time, where we'll continue on to what I believe is the most important part of writing an essay, stage 2, planning. Don't miss it. Thank you for watching, everyone. See you next time.